If these are your grades, what would you expect your final grade to be? So in this case, this actually resembles how I would grade students inside the classroom. Homework, we typically have 8 assignments. They decided not to do all of their homework, but they got 16 out of 24, which is still a respectable 80%. Now, for quiz number 1, they knocked it out of the park. They knew exactly what they were doing. That's going to be 100%. Quiz number 2, maybe they didn't study, maybe they forgot about it, but that's going to be a 67%, their lowest grade that they have. And then their test, I think they did fairly well. They got an 87%. So what grade do you feel like this student actually deserves? Now, if you actually calculate this using all of these numbers, the student would end up with a 79%. And I can guarantee you they would probably be at my desk asking, what do I need to do to be able to get to that 80%, right? Nobody wants to settle for a 79% when you have a C. So they might be looking in for, can we do some rounding? Can we do some extra credit? But in reality, what I built into my classroom for grading purposes to avoid using extra credit and rounding, I always look to drop quizzes. As long as you did better on your test than a quiz, I simply just dropped your quiz. You didn't have to ask me. So I would take this grade and I would actually drop it for the student. Now, by dropping this grade and recalculating everything, I would get an 87%, which is pretty respectable. They did most of their homework, they got their quiz, and they did their test. However, if the student was like, I need an A, what else can I do for an A? Well, I would always respond with, well, A students always do their homework. So first of all, if you need me, for me to improve your grade at all, you need to be able to complete your homework. So then the student will have to go back, go ahead and complete all these assignments, and then go ahead and get a 24 out of 24 for the homework. So now they improve that to 100%, that's a lot of work, and then they'd have to go back through their test and actually do all the corrections, fix all the problems they got wrong. But guess what? If they actually put in all of that work and they redid and everything I asked them to do, by applying test corrections, which would be 25% for each problem they got wrong, they would actually end up receiving a 93%. So you think that's fair? From a student to going from a C to an A? What are your thoughts?